When should you read between the lines? When your life depends on it. That's when you're given a contract. In most cases, you can take it as face value if you're a civilian. But when you read a military or a government contract, you better ask yourself is, what are they hiding? Why should I care? Or what am I missing? Why should you read between the lines when you're looking at recruiting into the military? Because your life depends on it. Hi, my name is Gary, and this is Military Illumination. We have simple conversations about things the military doesn't want you to know or understand. And today, our topic is going to be the military contract. You can say it's part two. My last episode, I talked about a military contract. I really went deep into it. I really tore it apart. You should listen to it. I think it's number 11. But today, what I want to do is very simply help you read between the lines. Why? Because your future and your life depends on it. Today, we're going to talk about the contract is what it's saying and what it's not saying, so that you'll be equipped to make an informed decision or to help someone else make a decision about the military options. So here's your fair warning. The military will tell the truth, but it's going to be wrapped in chaos, deception, and distractions. It's going to be, as I can put it, dangle between the things that you desire, the benefits, which in turn makes it difficult for you to see the true nature of what you're signing for. In essence, the military just makes it impossible for you to connect the dots, and that is their genius. They've got you. As I say before, my coffee's on, it's poured, and I just want to have a simple conversation with you about the military contract and reading between the lines. Part C of the military contract is the most critical part of the contract. Download it, get a copy of it. I'm eventually going to put it on my website, militaryillumination.com, but get it and read it before you even talk to a recruiter. Read it before the first time you have a thought about joining the military, or if somebody comes to you. All right, read it, get a copy, and read it. Part C is really where you need to live. And I think I talked enough about this. Part C. I would say there's 7 areas that you really want to pay attention to when you're reading this contract. The first thing is they mention is stop loss. That's probably mentioned 10, 15 times in that part C. And stop loss, that's critical, right? What it means essentially is that a government has gotten us into a situation that it needs to retain as many people as they can to deal with it until it's over. Loss means people who are able, based on the contract, to get out of the military. They are preventing you. They're slamming the door in your face so you can't get out. Person can't get out. Consider this. It's like you got one step into the military life and one toe into the civilian life. You're just days away from your exit at the end of your contract. And somehow they reach and grab you by the collar and yank you back in, slam the door shut, tether you to a long spike or stake like the ones they have at the circus to keep their elephants in place. And there you'll stay until they're done with you, until the military is done with you. That could be 6 months. That could be up to 2 years. But what does that matter? Here's why it matters. You've done your time. You went in for the benefits. Now you want to start your life over again. Maybe you want to go to school. That stop loss might prevent you from starting on time. It may close doors of opportunity. You got a job that's lined up, maybe making 6 figures, right? And now it's done. You can't go to that job because you can't get out. That's why it matters. The contract, it does specify a time you start, a time you get out of the military. But that part C is just littered with escape clauses for the government. Next thing, it talks about wars in that contract. You gotta retool your thinking, and not in wars like in World War III, but in skirmishes, in military actions. The Kremlin has been in Ukraine for almost 4 years. It's a military action. A military action. Okay? Our government, the White House, has got us into some stuff. It's not a war. It's a, which is basically at the discretion of the president. Wars are declared by Congress. But the job of the president as commander in chief, he can go kick somebody's ass, whoever they wants to, at his feeling. Basically, that's what it is. And you can't fault the person for that one. Sometimes they have a greater understanding than the average peasant. Ooh, did I say peasant? That means there's kings. Psst. Sorry, I apologize. There's no kings here. But that's what the president does. So when you look at the contract and it does talk about the wars, no, that's deception. It's skirmishes, it's military action. Okay? That can keep you from getting out. That can create a stop loss. That can prolong your enlistment. That can cause you to be pulled back into the military once you get out. Yes, once you get out, if you've got times to serve, they can pull you back in. So why does that matter? It matters a lot, but really it matters a lot for the reservists, National Guard, inactive reserves, ready reserves. Why? Because they baited you into the military, into the National Guard, to the reserves, saying 1 weekend a month, 2 weekends a year, get some pay, we'll pay for your college. All they're doing is keeping you on ice because they can activate you. They can activate a National Guard person. Yes. You thought that you just can come out for natural disasters and that kind of stuff? No. They can activate you and deploy you. But even though if you're going to a unit that's not deployable or has just come back from a redeployment, the military can assign you to a unit that is deploying. Once again, when you sign the dotted line, you're a pawn. Everyone who serves are pawns, and they serve at the pleasure of the government, the president. Okay, so you got to get to your thick skulls. And that's why. And you reserve a National Guard, you have a full-time job someplace, and you get activated, right, for a certain amount of time. Now you're deployed, and you can come back 6 months to 2 years. They can keep you active up to 2 years or longer. That's why that should matter. The military, they don't hide it. It's in the contract. Part C, look at it. Okay? And reserves, a lot of times, National Guard people, the Army pay isn't very good. It's dog food, really. And you leave a good job that you may or may not have waiting for you when you come back. The certain thing is reallocating the positions. Your position has gone. They don't need you no more. Or you're downgrading. So there's kind of things you got to be thinking about when you look at that contract. And they talk about those things. So recap real fast, stop loss. They keep you longer than you're contracted for. Wars, no more existing. It's always going to be military action. All right. And then they can always recall you back, even after you get out. In case of reserves and National Guards, honestly, you're screwed. Everybody's going to, basically you are, because they don't tell you those things. They gloss over it. But the truth of the matter is that once you can be activated, once you're activated, you're now in the United States military, and therefore you're deployable. Therefore, you serve at their will. I hope you get that. That's what I want you to understand. That's reading between the lines there. You can extend up your enlistment for up to 2 years. All right. Also, and people can say, "Oh, that's never gonna happen." This is what people always say. They always say, "Oh, that's never gonna happen." Oh yeah, no. If it's in the contract, you got to plan on it. You got to plan for it. It's in the contract, right? It's Part C. They can also pull you back for deployments and trainings. So your National Guard reservists, all those little things, they can pull you back for training without your approval. Okay. And remember now, everything is about your approval. When you read Part C, without your approval, without your consent, it must have been at least 10 times without your consent, right? And they're going to tell you, "Oh, no, don't believe that. No, that's not true. That's going to happen. You can go to your congressperson." It's all hogwash. But one thing I always say is that if you really want to know the true nature of the military, of your government, look at how they treated the Native Americans. How much have they lost? Okay, I'm not going to go into the genocide, but there was a whole lot more of them here before now. But they're coming back strong. They're great people. They're coming back strong, and they're going to do great things. Native American communities, they're coming strong. They're figuring it out, and I'm happy for them. Paybacks. Anyways, I'm going to move on here. Needs of the military comes first. You got to understand that. The needs of the military comes first. It's in the contract. When you think of you serving, think of yourself as servants, as a servant. Think about that. Think about it as an indentured servant. Just step below slave. You gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it real. You're slave material. I served, and I served proudly. And had it not been for this issue with the National Guard and Brett Dockery and my friend, I knew there's things that I wasn't happy with, but I never would have imagined what that day when I got that call from my friend, how this would end up. And I honestly, knee deep. I have more knowledge than the average person who gets out. And there's a lot of soldiers out there, a lot of sailors, a lot of service members who also need to tell their story. They're hurting inside. They're struggling, all that because of the things that the military has done to them. And they need to speak out, especially the young ladies, especially the people who've gotten sexually abused, right? Maliciously treated. They need to speak out. They need to share. They help other people. There's not much they can do. Nothing's going to change, but they need to speak out. And you hear a lot. I'm going to digress here. On the internet, there's a lot of stuff out there. People who've been soldiers, military people who've been in and got mistreated. Whatever you want to say, it's out there. They're telling their story. They're warning, right? They're warning. So just remember that. Keep it up. So, read between the lines. In essence, what's happening is that your service people are pawns. They serve at the pleasure of the government, at the pleasure of the president. Okay? Their job is to survive. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why reenlistment is down. They can't retain anyone because once you're in, you see the wizard behind the curtains and you understand all those things that you should have known. So it's hard to keep them in there. But the military, they do tell you in the contract. They do warn you about it. And it's there. The other thing I would say, as I'm looking at it here, it says, as a member of the Ready Reserve, I may be at any time and without my consent be ordered to active duty to complete a total of 24 months of active duty. Okay? As a member of the Ready Reserve, to include the delay entry program in time of national emergency declared by the president, I may, without my consent, be ordered to serve active duty, and my military service may be extended without my consent for not more than 24 consecutive months. That's in 10 United States Code 12302, 12302. 10 United States Code 12302. My enlistment may be extended during this period without my consent. I told you before, it hasn't without my consent. In this one paragraph, that is paragraph 10D. In that one paragraph, it has it without my consent 3 times. Right? So what you're getting into is that you're getting into a situation where your life is without your consent. You don't own your life anymore. Okay? You don't own your life anymore. And it comes down to the question, is it worth the money, worth the benefits they give you, right? Which aren't even guaranteed for the service. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. As you're moving through and as you're thinking about the contract, you have to look at it with eyes wide open without looking at the prize, right? And with reading between the lines. That's why I recommend you look it up, get a copy before you even go see a recruiter. Okay? You can get your attorney to look at it, okay? In essence, that's what it's about. Just reading between the lines, understanding what you're getting yourself into. It's not about patriotism. It's not about being anti-government. It's not about not loving your country. What it's about is protecting your life and your freedoms and looking and holding the government accountable. Because they're not going to tell you everything. They're going to have enough things that distracts you that they can just smooth through stuff. But knowing down the road that you're going to be held accountable for it And to tell you the truth, the recruiter is just as blind as the average person. They're just pawns too. And they serve as recruiters based on what we say, they're directed to do that as part of their duty. So I think we're coming to an end here. Next episode, please join me. And what we're going to talk about is having a military JAG officer defend you worse than having a public defender defend you. That's the next one. That's what we're going to talk about is how bad is it? And can you trust those little rascals? Until next time, I'm going to ask you just to keep asking questions, keep looking, and come join me next time. I'll have the coffee on, I'll have the lights turned down low, and we'll just have a simple conversation about the things the military does not want you to know. Enjoy your day. Goodbye.